everyone. Welcome to Open Discussions. First of all, Christine and I would like to thank everybody who watched our very first episode. That truly made us so happy and excited to keep doing what we do. I know we just started it, and today we have a very special guest and resource speaker. He's a mental health advocate, an anti-bullying advocate, and we're very happy to have him here. This is our special mental health episode, right, Christine? And so we're very excited to have someone who really will be able to share his story that is very relevant to the theme. But I'm going to leave all the beautiful, detailed introduction to my lovely co-host, Christine. Go ahead, Christine.
Thank you, Jackie. So welcome, Dave Boddy, to our second Open Discussions episode. We're very excited to have you with us today. And I would like to just, if you could introduce yourself to our viewers, and then we can go from there.
Yeah, that's not a problem. Thank you so much for having me once again. I am located in Calgary, Alberta. Ever since 2012, I've been mentoring youth globally through many initiatives, formerly known as Bodyguards United. However, I started a new brand called Hero Ascension Alliance, which is a brand that focuses on helping kids globally become a hero within their own rights. And I've just been overcoming a lot of battles in my own personal life in regards to concussions and anxiety, depression, suicidal ideation. And I've found that helping others help me heal. So I've been basically just focusing on that, public speaking, acting, appearing on TV shows, movies, just focusing on how to add the most value to kids. Because right now, especially with COVID-19, there's just so much attention that youth need. And I just want to be that source that, can give them the inspiration and motivation. And just about me, myself, I've been battling depression basically since my single digit years, since elementary school. I've been battling anxiety. I've been battling concussions ever since I was about 4 or 5 years old. I have 15 of those total. Each concussion had different side effects, different issues that it brought. However, I would say 2006 was when it got extremely bad, with my depression, my anxiety, hallucinations, memory issues, emotional instability. So I've been basically just, I don't want to say struggling, but learning to adapt and to survive and thrive with my conditions in regards to concussions and ADHD and so forth.
Mm-hmm. Do you find exercising and healthy eating does it help with your overall mental well-being?
Of course. So to be quite honest with you, because I told Jackie when we first met years ago that I'm an open book and I'm very honest. I accept full responsibility for the fact that my mental health got worse because I wasn't giving myself a fighting chance in the past. I wasn't working out. I wasn't training. And with depression, that's a very common side effect is you don't have the motivation. However, I wasn't eating healthy. So really, I wasn't really doing myself any favors. But then I started eating healthy. I started training. And my best advice for kids or adults who are trying to find that motivation to start training and to start eating healthy is just understand how you feel right now is not permanent. It's just you're going through a phase. You're going through a situation where your mindset is just not that good. So exercising and eating healthy truly are the foundation you have to build.
Mm-hmm. So it's getting rid of the Western diet, right? It's like, eating like wholesome foods and you find that your mind and body is in sync more and you can think better and you're properly fueling your body.
That's correct. Like, people don't go and fill their vehicle with the wrong fuel type, correct? Because they know it will damage the vehicle. So I've learned that whatever I put into my body has to be seen as an investment, not as I'm just eating because I'm bored or I'm just eating because I'm hungry. It's the food that I'm putting in is truly influencing my overall wellness. 85 to 90% of our illness begins in our stomach, and that's why it's called the second brain. So it's very, very important that what we eat and what we drink is with the intent of investment of how is this helping my health or how is this influencing me overall. It's extremely important. And the Western diet is, I feel, the number one suspect of this, if you will, because it's just everything that we're consuming is not with proper investment. It's just with, it tastes good, it's convenient, it's fast. However, not like I won't say it's going to affect you immediately, but over time it definitely will allow you to realize that, okay, what I'm eating, what I'm drinking is not the most beneficial for me. And I understand it's very hard to transition into a different eating style, like going plant-based or vegan or whichever you choose. However, because due to conditioning, like I was raised, you drink milk, you eat meat, you eat all this stuff, and drinking pop is a huge part of like birthday parties, if you will. So it's very common that the Western diet is conditioned in us mentally growing up. So we just grow up thinking that it's the healthiest version for us to eat. But then you start realizing when you do a lot of research and start understanding that, okay, you know what, this food is not good for me, especially my mental health,
Mhm.
because the nutrients from the food, the vitamins, the minerals, they do assist your brain development. And people don't understand that your brain is developing until you're 26 years old. And sometimes it could go to 30 years old. So you have all these individuals like youth that are just consuming so much soda and pop and juice and just all this unhealthy habits that they don't understand is actually affecting their brain development.
One
Uh-huh.
of your most recent posts, Dave, is really amazing. Last June, you weighed 321 pounds, and September,
Mhm.
your weight is down to 270 pounds, and that's incredible. I just was wondering, was your goal to lose weight and then you worked towards it, or was it because you changed your diet and then you lost weight?
Mhm.
So thank you for the acknowledgement that it was a lot of work. My doctor herself was like, how did you do this? Because that was 50 pounds lost in 3 months. And I understand that it sounds very extreme because it was. I realized that in order to have the results I wanted, I've always mentored youth that it all starts with the mindset. As soon as you figure out the positivity and your why and your focus, then everything else just slowly falls into place. And before this happened, I was seeing my neurologist every couple months, and she was telling me that my concussion symptoms could worsen as I age, which could be dementia, it could be CTE. Like they don't know exactly what's going to happen for my future in regards to my brain damage, and that woke me up. And I realized, am I really giving myself a fighting chance right now? Like, am I doing what's best for my health, long term, short term, and currently? And I realized I wasn't. So the first thing I had to do was admit that this is my fault. I had to say, you know what?
Mhm.
I was diagnosed with ADHD in 1997, which is not my fault. The concussions I had were mostly from sports and security and bodyguard work, which could have been avoided. So I do accept blame for that, but I also mainly accept blame that I was not taking care of myself. So I had to first work on me internally. I had to go say, what do I want? Why do I want it? And how would this change benefit not only myself, but my family, and how it, like, as soon as I started
Mhm.
realizing how influential my choices are for my children and how it helps them with developing their mindset is when I was like, okay, I have to do this, because what example am I setting for my kids? And that was my main driving force. So I
Mhm.
immediately started changing my eating habits because I was diagnosed with GERD, which is basically a consistent form of acid reflux. So certain foods would give me heartburn immediately. And my heartburn
Mhm.
symptoms were so intense because it felt like my chest was tight. It felt like I had chest gas. It felt like my throat was closing. So my symptoms were very extreme. And I was like, okay, I got to change my diet like immediately. So I started to do that. And as a result of that, because I was giving my body the nutrients that it needed to run properly, I was able to just get into a groove of, okay, you know what? If you take care of your body, it will take
Mhm.
care of you. So it was extremely important that I changed my mindset drastically and cold turkey, if you will, because I dropped everything immediately, which was not something I encourage people to do, because I found out that your body can take 21 to 26 days to actually respond to a dietary change health like effectively. I cold turkeyed it because that's just how I am. When I make a decision, I go hard, full throttle. And I was like, okay, that was not a smart decision because my body went through shock. I started to feel sick. I started to feel just really different. And I was like, I'm rushing this. So I slowed it down. My number one piece of advice is listen to your body. Listen to how it's
Mhm.
speaking to you. If you're in pain, it's your body's communication. Like I understand there's that no pain, no gain mentality, which is extremely counterproductive. I used to live that lifestyle with my sports, and as a result, I have lifelong injuries that are very hard to treat. So I had to start listening to my body more. And when I started listening to my body when I ate, I was like, you know what? I feel better eating this. I feel better eating that. And it slowly became a habit. because I started to build the foundation of eat well, drink well, with the focus of investment. Everything we do in regards to our body is investing in the short term and the long term. And I wasn't doing that at the beginning. So I
Mhm.
spent over 15 years in chronic pain, battling concussions. And I realized, you know what? The one thing I'm in control of is my effort. And right now I got to, admit to that and be like, I'm not doing what's proper. So it was extremely important to change my mindset. And that's exactly how I did it. And the weights, so the pounds came off daily. Like I was losing so much weight because I was eating so much more healthy. I was drinking, I drink on average 1 gallon of water a day because I work out so hard. And people are asking me like, how did you do this? Simple. My excuses were put on the back burner and my focus was put on the forefront. Like I didn't spend my time looking for excuses no more. That's easy. Like looking for excuses is so easy. It's easy to look for excuses. You have to find the results, and you only find the results when you show up first. So it's all in the show up. And I tell people all the time that it's consistency, it's building habitual behavior, because like as humans, we are programmable by our thoughts. So it's like we program ourselves. Like our habitual default reactions is determined by our thoughts and our focus. And I had to change that immediately. Otherwise, I had no idea where I was going to go. Like I was being tested for fibromyalgia. I was being in talks with early signs of Parkinson's disease. Like I was going through so much testing because of the chronic pain I was dealing with. And now I can say for 5 months, I've had zero pain and I've lost 50 pounds, all because of just changing how I ate and drank.
Do you
Yes.
think that if you knew about that, or you did that probably 2 years ago, do you think you would have had no symptoms or side effects from your concussion, Dave?
I can't with certainty say that I would have no concussion symptoms, because some of my concussion symptoms are actually not influenced by my eating habits. It's actually the chemistry within my brain and the damage that they can't see. So my physical scans of my brain show no physical damage. However, when I was in brain injury rehab in 2011, they said that they feel my limbic system of my brain was the part that had the damage, because that's the prefrontal cortex, that's the emotional side of the brain, that's the focus side, that's the memory side. Because of all my symptoms, they said that that's the side that they feel, or the part of my brain, if you will, was the most affected, but they can't see it physically on a scan, which makes things very difficult to prove. So it's all behavior, it's all habits, it's all like my default responses. And I find that when COVID-19 started happening, that my anxiety was going through the roof. I was having attacks left, right, and center, and it's just very expected. But when you have ADHD, which is already not damage if you're to your brain, but like a different brain structure, if you will, than other people. So you have ADHD, then you add 15 concussions. There's a large risk there with in regards
Mhm.
to focus and symptoms. So I can't really say that if I changed my diet 2 years ago, it would actually affect my concussion symptoms. But I will say it definitely would have helped with my chronic pain and my inflammation and the stuff that I was experiencing back then.
You know, Dave, you have a positive mindset and so appreciate you being here. I read that if you're grateful, and I read on your post, you have a great Facebook,
Oh, thank you.
um, and you are grateful for three things, and that positive mindset, does it help you every morning?
Most definitely. So I was living in a mindset where, so this is how it works. Okay. So after studying Dr. Joe Dispenza and so many other brain experts that explain the process of how this works, is we have so much power in how we influence our brains that we don't even know. And our bodies can become addicted to emotions, which are, chemistry, chemical reactions, if you will. So let's say you're constantly thinking negative. As a result of that, your body is responding with those thoughts with negative chemicals, such as emotions like anger, frustration, stress, unhappiness, sadness. And what happens is your body can get addicted to that. So what
Mm.
happens is you wake up every morning and your body's like, I need to feel sad, or I want to feel sad. And then you start thinking those thoughts over and over again. Another thing that I teach youth all the time is called mental rehearsal, which is what we all do every single day. And they're like, we don't understand how that works. I'm like, what you do is if you think of an activity or a task with your eyes closed and you think of the movements very detailed, it's actually your body is training yourself to automatically respond to that behavior. And we do it every morning. Like when you get up and you're laying in bed and you're thinking about your day, you're like, oh geez, I gotta do dishes, I gotta do laundry. Like you're mental rehearsing. Like that's mental rehearsal. Like you're getting your body prepared for that activity. And so I realized that when I started waking up every morning, and my kids do it too, because I understand the power of it, where you get up and you write down 3 things that you are grateful for. It helps prime you. It helps your brain enter that positive mindset. This is also in regards to training myself with not using an alarm clock, which I have not used in 3 weeks now.
Wow.
I just wake up. I just wake up naturally at between 7 a.m. now. Like, it takes a lot of work, but once you understand how much influence your emotions and your thoughts have on your brain structure, it's incredibly powerful. That you realize, hey, I'm in control of this. Even with ADHD and 15 concussions and a severe battle with the depression, I was almost diagnosed with a thing called dysthymia, which is permanent depression. Even with those, I can still wake up and find reason to be grateful for. Like I remember my kids and I were going for a walk, and my son started doing the whole complaining about, like, oh, let's go for a walk. And I was like, son, what's more annoying do you think? Being able to walk and choosing not to, or being someone who doesn't have the choice to walk at all? I was like, there's so many people out there that I know that don't have the choice to walk. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be grateful for everything I have right now, because the struggle I have now could be someone's goal, because they're struggling even more than me. So when you have the process of gratefulness practice every single morning, your brain is reverse engineering itself, because by default, your brain responds to negativity. It's looking for things to protect you. So you have to reverse engineer and be like, okay, I'm gonna wake up every morning. I have a strict rule of process. I wake up, I have no social media or no phone for 2 hours. I have my breakfast, I meditate, I do an exercise, I drink 3 glasses of water, and I practice gratefulness. And when you do this, it's like you are taking control of your day, because what happens is if you wake up and you grab your cell phone immediately, what's happening is technology is hijacking you and you're allowing it to happen. So like if you wake up every morning and read the news about COVID-19 and all these hoax fights and all this stuff, it puts you in a negative mood immediately. And then that's how your whole day is. I call it the stub toe theory. So, you wake up in the morning, you stub your toe, you have 2 choices. You can overcome the pain and move on, or allow that pain to just control your whole day, saying, oh my goodness, this is how I wake up. I stub my toe, my whole day is ruined. Then you go and you spill your eggs, or you spill your coffee, and then from then on it just builds. You have to wake up and just overcome that stub toe immediately. And one of the biggest mistakes that youths are making in adults is they go right to their social media as soon as they get up. And all that does is it gives you this training of, I wake up and want drama, or I wake up and I want negativity. So the first thing I tell kids all the time is charge your phones in the living room. So that way there's no temptation. And when you wake up in the morning, you're focused on yourself. Like immediately you're like, okay, I'm first. I got to pour into my own cup before I can help anybody else. And mental rehearsal is extremely important. And practicing gratefulness is mental rehearsing, sorry. So it's very, very important to wake up every morning and just say 3 things you're grateful for. And if you want more impact, write them down. That way you can keep like a track of it.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
He's just inspiring, Christine. Like, even through your pain, through the story you're telling, Dave, the inspiring soul in you is just radiating. Whatever you do, whether you change careers, you will always be motivational in everything that you say. And I agree, right, Christine? Being grateful you can't compete with gratitude, with gratefulness. It will always give you a right start during the day.
100%.
Yeah. So, Dave, how do you relax?
Oh, geez. So, with ADHD, it can be very challenging. Even when I am relaxed, am I really relaxing? Is what I tell myself, because it's like relaxing to me is no television, no TV, no radio, just meditation, and your eyes are closed. That to me is relaxing, which is something that is very hard to do when you have ADHD, because I'm always fueled with creativity. So my mind is always going. Like, I don't go to bed till 1 or 2 a.m. because if I go to bed before that, I just lay in bed tossing and turning, being like, okay, well, what if I did this? Or who created a microwave? Or how did pigeons talk to other birds? Like my mind just goes everywhere with all these questions. And I'm like, okay, so what I do now is I have scheduled meditation periods every single day, 1 p.m. and 1 a.m. I meditate for 15 to 30 minutes. But on days where I call them test days, which is where I'm having a mental health or an emotional struggle, which has happened a lot lately, those days I increase my meditation times by more periods. So it's like 1 p.m. I'll meditate, and then 3 p.m. I'll meditate again. And there's so many different ways to meditate. Like, people understand that you can do the traditional meditation that everyone knows, which is sitting down, your eyes are closed and you're breathing. But there's also walking meditation. So when I have a good training session with my son in the gym, we'll go for a walk and we'll meditate as we're walking for 45 minutes, because it just calms you right down. So the way that I relax is I invest in passion. Things that really help me calm myself down, because there's no stress involved. There's no, strategic planning. My brain is able to focus on something that's linear and just one thing at a time. So I meditate, I exercise and I train my kids. I will mentor other kids. I will watch Dragon's Den on Netflix. I love those kind of shows that just help me think of one thing. And it's very confusing to people who don't have ADHD, but I always tell them all the time, when you have something in your hands, it's activating a part of your brain that helps you to focus more. And that's why my son and I will have things in our hands all the time. Otherwise I'm biting my nails, and that's not good. So I try to think of other ways to keep my hands busy. So when I say I'm relaxing, it can mean a lot of different things, but the primary focus is my brain and my mind is focused on one simple thing, which can be very challenging because I'm impulsive at times. I'm constantly motivated. I'm constantly driven, which could be a curse at sometimes, because you can't stop thinking creatively. One thing I do like to speak about, though, is called the theta state. It's where you're having a shower, your mind naturally enters a creative state of mind. That's why when you're having showers and you leave the shower, you're like, oh, I should try that. Or, oh, this is a great idea, because you're entering what's called theta state, which is a very creative state of mind. And it's only common in states of showering, meditation. It's only when you're able to relax. And showering is extremely crucial for my therapeutic journey. But I also do what's called cold shower therapy, which can be very challenging. But what it does is it trains your mind to not respond with anxiety, with aggression, or immediate response. It's slow down, because when you turn that cold water on, you instinctively want to get out. So when you're breathing through that process, it helps me relax dramatically. So I do an ice cold shower every single day for 3 to 5 minutes. That helps me calm down as well. Lots of strategies I basically use, and it alternates. So some days I'll do ice cold shower therapy, some days I'll do meditation more, some days I'll do reading more. But my number one focus for relaxation is creativity. Anything that allows me to create, I'm able to stay calm and just basically chill out. And that's what kids don't understand, is they have so much potential right now with creativity, with creating content, but they're so confused and conflicted with what they should do and where they should go. And that's why I told Jackie, I was like, my number one focus is youth, because I find that youth don't have much attention. Most coaching and mentorship is about business and financing and entrepreneurship, but youth are like, we're not at that stage yet. We need help with delegating and overcoming all these other obstacles. So like I said earlier, one of my greatest ways that help me heal is helping other heal. So when I'm mentoring kids, it's like I'm so calm. But if I want to relax, like with nothing, it's TVs off, phones off, and I'm just meditating for 15, 20 minutes. That's like my favorite thing to do. I need it. If I don't do that, I'm everywhere. And it can be fun.
That's why when I'm in the shower, I go like, this is my time for myself. So that's, I am doing the right thing. It's my time for myself. No one can talk to me.
Yeah, you're entering theta state, which is extremely powerful for creativity and just being calm. And that's why showering, you take forever. Like someone says, whoa, you had a half-hour shower. Why? Because I'm relaxed. Like no one can bother me. I'm at peace. I'm creating. I'm thinking. So it's very powerful to enter theta state, and showering or hot baths are like the best way to do it. Mm-hmm. So if you ever wonder why you shower for 30 minutes some days, it's probably because you're having a day where you just need it.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Christine, what are we learning from Dave? It's like we're learning how to live again.
Exactly.
We're all very busy people. Oh my gosh, I could see how Dave would have so many platforms, mainly focusing on inspiring the youth, and you've done such a great job. And with all of this going on, and I know Christine is a very busy person. She would be teaching, she would be running, she would be writing for someone, and then she's doing this one with us, and me too, like all of these
Yes,
many things going around. We need to list on everything that Dave just taught us today. Christine,
exactly. You should write a book, Dave.
I'm in the process of that.
Wow.
Uh,
See,
it's a it's a
launching
lot
an
of
open discussion with Christine.
that's
I'm in the process of
awesome.
it. It's I'm stuck on what it will focus on is what I'm stuck on because like my story is so extensive in regards to depression, mental health, ADHD, concussions,
Mhm.
chasing dreams, losing friends. Like it's just so I'm trying to figure out a topic that will encompass all of that and help guide me because I get a lot of writer's block if I don't have direction. So it's taking me a long time, but it's coming for sure.
You know what I'm thinking, Dave? Because, Christine, Dave just mentioned about all of these things. And yes, you have so many things. You're inspiring people. You have your own mental health. You have your own struggles. I think a good title for your book just came to my mind is After All of This, You're Still Here. I think you should say, I'm still here. You're
Wow.
still here.
One of
After
my
everything.
favorite it's actually relevant because one of my favorite quotes to kids is you don't understand how much power is in the words I'm going through. Like we all say, like I'm going through something, I'm going through this, and it's like you don't understand the power within that statement. Like finish it. You're going through what? That means that you're actively focusing on trying to get out of it. So I was like, there's so much power in I'm going through. And people say it all the time as if it's like a negative thing. It's like, no, say what you're saying, like I'm going through depression. Awesome. Keep going through it because that means you're actively going through it. Like you're aware of it, you've named it, and you want to grieve through it. And one of my favorite things to tell people all the time is you have to feel real to heal. Like we live in a society where you have to suppress, you have to hide your emotions. And when you suppress, you only increase the mess. So it's like I'm also considering my book being focused on that, just me opening up and sharing my emotional journey, my wellness journey. And there's a lot of lows, but honestly, there's also a lot of highs that people don't understand.
Mhm. Well, you use comic books, right? Comic
Yes.
heroes, and that's wonderful. So tell us about that. Tell the viewers about that.
First of all, I refuse to grow up. I feel one of the biggest struggles youth have nowadays is they're forced to move away from what they loved as a child.
Mm.
Like, okay, you're now 13, you can't watch comics anymore. Okay, now you're 18, no more comics. Okay, now you're 25, you're done. So it's like people are removing themselves from what they love to do because that's what they're told to do from other people. I've always loved comics. Like, I mean, there are stories like Spider-Man and Hulk and Batman, which to me, they're more than just characters. They're stories. Like Batman's about fear. That's why he's called Batman because he was scared of bats and he overcame that fear. And then Spider-Man was, he overcame bullying and peer pressure and being verbally and physically abused. And then Hulk is the most relevant character to me because of my anger. So I'm not proud to admit it, but I did struggle with really bad temper and anger issues growing up. And I found that now I'm more able to be Bruce Banner than I am to be Hulk. When I was in high school, I was always the Hulk. I was always angry. I was always in a mood to fight and just be combative and just be confrontational. But now I'm like, no, now I'm Bruce Banner. Like I'm calm, I'm relaxed. And it's all because of the power of the stories of the characters because I refuse to grow up simply. I tune in to what I loved as a child, which is professional wrestling and comics and video games. I still keep those a part of my life because that's just who I am. And I have the power to say, like, yeah, I'm 34 and I love comics and wrestling and video games. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. It keeps me happy. It keeps me focused. So I want to help kids, like, know, okay, what you love now at 8 years old, I will help you keep that love as you turn 30 and 40 because we should not be going against what we love growing up just to appeal to other people because that's how you lose who you are. And I lost who I was for 15 years because I
Mhm.
was like, all right, no more wrestling, no more comics. I'm gonna grow up and be an adult now. I'm a father. You know what the best thing about being a father is? I can relive all my childhood loves. Like my son and I will watch comics together. My daughter and I will watch comic movies together. We'll watch cartoons together. Like it's like I'm reliving what I love, and we got to stop removing ourselves from what we love. And when I'm teaching mental grounding, I always tell kids, close your eyes, breathe slowly, and just think of one time that made you very happy. And once you have that thought, experience it again. And for me, it's always sitting down on Saturday mornings watching cartoons for comics like X-Men. So I was like, why would I want to ignore that part of me? Like that part is huge. So I love comics, and I talk about comics all the time because it's part of who I am, and I refuse to let it go. And I want you and Jackie to think about what you guys love as children and refuse to let those go, because we shouldn't have to.
Well said. Thank you, Dave. That's
Hiring. Christine, while Dave was talking, I just realized that childhood is not restricted to your age, because we can always be children again. Maybe our bones will disagree, like my bones disagree, but in our heart and in our minds, like now I'm thinking, well, remember I just posted that, I think 3 weeks ago, where I was running after those mini donuts because the last time I ate them, I was to be a child again. Oh, there you
yeah,
go.
yeah.
Oh,
Like when you're growing up, you shouldn't be forced to remove parts of who you are. It just causes so much anxiety and stress to be like, well, I want to watch comics, but my dad and my mom say I'm too old for it. It's something like, why? Like, why are we forcing youth to grow up and then erase parts of their memories, erase parts of their journey and who they are? Like, it's so counterproductive. So I tell kids all the time, if you love comics, love comics. You have social media, you can start posting about comics. If it makes you excited, if you're passionate about it, it's who you are. Like, passion is you. It's an extension of who you are. So when I hear kids tell me, oh, my parents say I can't do this, I'm like, but are you passionate about it? Like, yes. I'm like, you cannot stop, because your whole life you'll be you'll be like pulled into it. Like, gravitational will be pulling you towards your passion. You cannot remove yourself from it. And if parents would just be like, you know what, I'm going to stop living my life through my child, because I find that that's one of the biggest issues that parents have, is they want to relive their childhood through their children and force them to go down a journey they couldn't go on no more. They say on average 56% of parents, by the time that their children are 5, already have a design plan for them for career. So that means when a kid turns 5 years old, their parents are like, no, you're going to be a doctor. No, you're going to be a lawyer. And then they raise them, conditioning them for that path, and the child rebels because they're like, that's not who I am. So parents need to, let the children just be children, because you know why? Because we miss it. Us adults, we miss being children. We miss that, being able to wake up Saturday mornings, just watch cartoons and eat Fruit Loops. So why do we need to miss it? Just keep doing it. Like, don't grow up, especially if you have kids. If you have children, grow with them. Don't grow up against them. And don't try to raise them against you and rebel against you, because they will grow up and they will resent you for trying to remove that passion from them. Join the passion with them. Like my children, my son loves video games. I love video games. So a lot of people are like, oh, he plays so much video games and yada, yada, yada. I'm like, no, he doesn't. He's happy. He's healthy. His mental health is extremely powerful now. Before, he was weak because he was trying to appeal to other people, but now he's mentally and emotionally resilient because he's living his passion. And I'm like, I don't want to be the person that removes that from him. So my message to parents is, let your kids have that passion, because I know you miss yours too. So why not just get it back? And that's what I did with comics. I brought it back because it's like, that's who I am. So I hope, Jackie, you do the same thing from here on. You just say, you know what, as a child, I loved Disney, and just make it a part of your life again. Or Christine, I love running because I love playing tag when I was in elementary school. Then bring it back. Go play tag with your neighborhood kids. Like, let's, as adults, let's just be childish again.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you. Dave, Jackie, anything to add? This has been an awesome interview.
yes, it's a healing interview, right, Christine? Like,
Yes,
Dave is so, very motivational and, very upbeat in telling everything, but it's actually very healing. Like, wow, you've opened our eyes to so many things. And to be a child again, Christine, now we can justify
yes,
being, yes, we can justify why we want to do this, why we want to eat this, why we want to just run with the wind, right?
exactly. No, thank you, Dave. We have, this has been a great time with us, and the viewers are going to really enjoy our interview. And And thank you so much. And over to you, Jackie.
And yes, thank you again, Dave, for joining us. Christine, it's always a pleasure hosting with you. And I love just going through all of our projects and getting it, making it, seeing it come to reality because we have such amazing guests. And Dave, thank you for opening our eyes to so many beautiful things that sometimes we disregard because we're so busy with all of the other things. We forget that we were children once and we can be children again, and that being grateful is one sure way to getting a job done, and to be thankful for what we have, because we will always have struggles, right, Christine? But
Yes.
if we go back and just realize the many things we should be thankful for. And Dave, you better let me and Christine know when you are launching your book, because we just can't wait, right?
I will let you know, I promise.
Very good. And thank you again. Thank you to our audience, to our viewers. If you like our show and you think you're getting a lot of inspiring moments and you think you like what we're doing, please give us a like. Please
Yes.
subscribe to our very
Yes.
new channel. Christine and I love to hear from you. Comment on this video, and definitely you know where to find Dave. We're going to put his contact information everywhere in this episode. Thank you again for joining us, and on behalf of Christine and Dave, we wish you all a beautiful season of this fall, and despite COVID, let's all look forward to bright, a bright
Yeah.
horizon ahead of us, right?
Well said. Thank you, everyone, and stay tuned.
Bye for now.
Bye for now.